Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So as many of you guys can see behind me, I've got the black BMW E60 back here and ready to go again. Now there is a lot that many of you guys haven't seen and that I haven't done on video, which we'll go over in another video once we finally complete the last job on this car. Now as many of you guys know, this car was actually sitting a whole year, and obviously because the main pipe for the crankcase to the valve cover was actually broken, this pulled in a lot of vacuum, which ended up blowing the diaphragm on the CCV itself. So today we're going to be taking the manifold off and replacing the CCV for a genuine Febby one, and we're going to replace all the parts, all the hoses and the CCV all together, purely because then that way I know it's all new, because the last time I actually changed this was on at 130k, and therefore it is probably ruptured, it is probably time for a new one. So I am going to be changing it anyway. This is the last part under the engine side, and many of you guys can see the E60 is actually looking a lot more cleaner than what it was. But again, we're going to go over all of that in another video because a lot's been changed on the car as well. We've also got to polish it, do the whole interior, get it completely pristine, which, as many of you guys know, this is taking time to restore, but we are getting there slowly and surely, and it's going to come out absolutely pristine again the way it actually was. But let's get onto this video and let's start removing the manifold on the BMW N52 engine, and I'm going to show you how to replace the whole CCV system.
Goddamn, get it done, will ya? Woo. When the blow up now, everybody's so unusual with it. Shit. But said times in his rhymes, cause his memories. We running through New York, so you know.
Okay guys, for the first one, we're going to be removing the airbox. So the airbox is very, very simple. This just has, you know, T30 bolts that hold the airbox down. So we'll just go ahead and remove them. And you've got another one right down here, which we'll just remove. Once you've removed them Torx bolts, then just got to undo the MAF plug, which is very, very simple. It just comes off just like that. Then you've got to release this flathead Jubilee clip that holds the intake tube onto the airbox itself. Now it's very, very simple. Once it's unloosened, you can just prise it off with the screwdriver, just like that, and then the airbox comes out. So the next step on this, guys, is to remove the intake tube, which sits down here. Now this is actually connected on with another Jubilee clip to the throttle body itself. Now to get to it, I usually use a 6 or 7 mil socket, put a ratchet down there and just unscrew it and take it off the throttle body. You will have to release the engine wiring harness off the top of the clip here that goes onto the manifold to be able to get to it, and you should be able to get a socket down there. Now it is a 6 mil, and I'll show you once we get it off what it looks like. So once that's off, if you'll see here, this is the Jubilee clip, and you can see there I just use a 6 mil socket just to get it, because when it goes on the throttle body, you can see it's at an angle, so that's a lot easier to tighten it than to get a screwdriver down there. It's very hard to get a screwdriver down in that area, so it's easier just to use a 6 mil socket just to remove it off the throttle body. Now obviously the next one is the throttle body plug, which you're going to have to remove. And that's your throttle body off right there. And there is your 10 mil bolts you're going to have that you need to put back with your throttle body. I suggest to keep them together just like that, keep them in there, so that way you don't get them mixed up. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to crack free all of these 11 mil bolts that hold the intake manifold down. Do remember to disconnect your sensor right here, which is your map sensor. Many people forget that and end up breaking the plug. And you can see this one has been broken from before, so do not forget that. Luckily it was only just part of the clip, so it still clips in, but if you break it completely, you are screwed. Now we do have a Phillips screw holding down the fuel line on the top of the manifold right here, so we're just going to get that out. Now we'll quickly just release all these 11 mils, just like that. Now we'll keep all these bolts and nuts separate. Be careful with the nut ones, as I said, they are you can easily lose them. Very, very easy to lose. Trust me, I know. Next thing we're going to unplug is all the O2 sensors, because they're going to come under the manifold, of course. All the plugs, so we'll just stick them down there. We need to remove the DISA connection, which we're going to remove right now. Just remove that as well, just like that. Now we've got everything disconnected, we're ready to lift up the manifold. Just need to take off our CCV pipe, just like that. That's our CCV pipe out. Now if we just pull up on the manifold, just like that, it should break free. take off our wiring box, take off our other small disc plug, and then that's the manifold out of the car. Do remember your breather pipe, which goes to your evap, or your purge valve, so many of you guys want to call it. You do have a lot of different connectors here. If many of you guys don't know where they all go back, you can go and refer to my video that I've done regarding the N52, or the wiring box, where all the wiring goes back to. It's very, very easy, you can't get it mixed up. Now you guys can possibly just see it, but can you see the oil pickup tube here? It's kind of badly condensated and it hasn't been working properly, which means this CCV was completely gone. You can see right there, the pickup tube's got some kind of like milkshake color inside it, which isn't good at all. And this is why I'm actually changing it, because I knew there was going to be an issue, which it does have. So it's actually about time I do change it, and it's the right time to change it. So you can see there, that one's gone. So this is why you guys should be really checking yours as well, because I think if you've done 30, 40, 50K, now is the time to actually check all your pipes to make sure they're still in good working order and your CCV is fully working, especially with winter coming. This is crucial that it's working, because this is used more than it is in the summertime, so do bear that in mind. Okay guys, so as we've got the manifold off now, you can see here, this is my old CCV. Now we are going to replace that pipe as well, so I'm just going to crack that off because it doesn't really matter, but this is the CCV that's going to be coming off. And I'm going to be showing you guys how to actually replace it. This is that big ball one. Many of you guys know about that one. I did do one many, years ago regarding this, but yes, this is a common problem. And it's not like the new one, which is built into the valve cover itself. These ones are actually a separate system, but this one's gonna come off and we're gonna put the new one on. Now, if you can see right here, we have two Torx bolts to remove it, which are just right here. I believe they're T25s. I'm just gonna take them off and the whole CCV should just slide out. It's held on by a couple of clips. That's the plug, the heater plug that we need to pull out as well, which we'll pull out after we've actually got it all connected. So just go ahead and just take them out. Just take the other one out as well. Now that's all released. Now it should just unclip. Obviously it's still connected by the pipes, which ain't an issue. We'll get them off in a second. Just take that off and you can see now it's ready to come out. And obviously we're gonna break this pipe off because we don't need it. If we can, snap this off. And the reason I'm doing this, guys, if you're having to take yours off, then don't be breaking the pipes. I'm breaking it because I've got a whole new set, which we're gonna be replacing. You can see in there, in the CCV, look how bad that is. And that's from, obviously, the car sitting or winter, not being started. It's caused the CCV to go bad. So right here, I have a brand new Febby one. You can see there, that's the part number if any of you guys want to see what it is. It's right up there, so you guys get to see. And inside here, we've got the new CCV, which we'll take out. And you can see on there, it says Febby, everything is Febby. Bought a whole new Febby one. I think this was around £150. But you know what? It makes sense to replace it if near genuine, at least, which Febby is, you know, just to be on the safe side. See there, we've got the new CCV, we've got our new pickup pipe, we've got our new, you know, crankcase vent pipe from the valve cover, and we've also got our new pipe as well that goes into the CCV after I've done everything else. Now, we shouldn't have no problems with the O-rings because this is a Febby one, which is like genuine. So it should all clip together, because I know many of you guys always message me saying that when you buy the cheaper one, you end up having problems where the O-rings don't sit on properly. Now, for this to go on, obviously, just got to remember how it goes. So it just goes something like this. So you're going to want to connect that into the heater firstly. So the heater plug right here. So just connect that in. Just connect that in there. Now it's in. Then what we can do is sort out what way this goes. And just like that, it's on. Now what we're gonna go ahead and do is screw our bracket back down with the bolts, so then it holds it all in place. So we got our bolt on first. Just tighten it down. I'll show you guys in a second. So you can see there, that's one of the bolts I've already put in. And then obviously you've got your one right here, which goes just like that. So obviously it covers that other bolt, so you ain't gonna be able to get to it after. So you're gonna have to do it beforehand, and then you put the bracket on to align it. I know a lot of people, again, don't put this bracket back on. They think it's not used for anything, but it actually is. And just like that, guys, it's all back on. Now we need our new pipe, which we're gonna be put on now. we're going to just put that on carefully. Don't want to break this one. And you can hear it just snaps in nicely. And that one does. And then that one does as well. As you can see, Febby one makes all the difference than using a cheaper one because everything just snaps into place perfectly. So you can see here it's very dark in the engine bay to be able to show many of you guys how to pull it all back. But it's just the same as removal. Just remember, every line has to go back reconnected. There is a lot to reconnect. If you know where it's going, it shouldn't take you long. Really, the biggest struggle many of you will have is probably getting the manifold back in position. Do make sure to plug everything in that goes behind the manifold, your PCV heater, your disc flap, before you sit the manifold down and bolt it all up, or you're gonna have to stick your hand through this little gap here to try and reach it, and it's not easy to do. So do make sure you get the right wires. That's my PCV heater one right there. And my disser one should be around here, which is here. And then that's my other disser one for my big disser. That's the way you know the difference, and that's why I'm gonna put them both here, ready when the manifold goes on. Now we'll do the oil pickup system pipe in a second. I'd rather put this in because what we don't wanna do is crush that. I'm just gonna get this manifold back into position. Okay, so now we got the oil pickup pipe on. Now we're gonna bolt everything back together, reconnect everything, and put everything back. There you go, guys. That is now the intake manifold back on, all the connections reconnected. Very, very easy job to do. And that's how easy it is if you guys want to attempt it at home. I know for you guys who are going to do it for your first time, it isn't going to be that easy, but you've got to bear in mind, I've done this so many times. I have so many of these engines, it's unbelievable. So I don't even need a torque wrench to know when the bolts are tight. I just know straight away from, feel by doing this like hundreds and hundreds of times, taking off these manifolds. But you guys, I would strongly recommend to use a torque wrench if it is your first time to torque them bolts up, because what you don't want to do, because the manifold's plastic, over tighten them and crack the manifold at all, because it would be very hard to find another one, as many of you guys know, especially the 3 stages in high demand because people want it for power potential and tuning potential. Okay guys, so as you've seen, I've now removed the manifold on this BMW E60 with the N52 engine, and I've replaced the CCV. Now, the CCV that was actually on here was very, very bad. Bear in mind, I did put this on at 130K, but then I left it sitting for a whole year through the whole bad weather of the winter here, the snow, everything, without a CCV pipe going to the valve cover to the CCV itself, because that one broke when I actually removed the manifold. So therefore it didn't have one that kept starting it, and it didn't have that pipe on. So that's probably what actually destroyed the old CCV. The car is running much better now. I've actually put that one on, and it's not giving smoke like it was, where it was actually sucking in oil into the intake and being burnt off anymore, because that's what the old one was actually doing. That's how I knew it was actually blown, because this was giving a lot of smoke. So now that's been changed, this N52 is now fully sorted underneath the bonnet. We are going to be moving on to all the bodywork stuff on this. So we've got the mirrors to still tidy up, a few little marks we're going to be touching up and just, you know, tidying it all up. Then we're going to be moving on to clean up the whole interior, because the interior has been sitting for quite, you know, a long time, and it's got a bit of mold here, there and everywhere where the doors weren't locked, not shut properly. So we've got to clean it all up and get it fully pristine, as I said to you, but that'll be on another video. So thank you very much for watching, guys. And many of you probably have clocked that I'm not uploading regularly anymore, and that's purely because I've got a lot on right now, and I keep doing more than I really should. I'm taking on more than I should, and that's why I haven't been uploading as much as I would actually love to. Obviously, I've got the C62, but obviously I've got a lot of delays because I've got another lot of cars that I'm getting on with as well, which don't actually apply to YouTube. So that's what's keeping me very, very busy, and why I think I'm only going to be uploading once a week now, because I can't contain doing YouTube and doing these other things that I'm doing outside of YouTube as well. So thank you very much for watching, guys. It's BMW Dr. Dean here, and goodbye.